The katana.
The katana is Japan's sacred sword of tradition.
Okay, AI-generated content. Let's see what they get right and wrong.
But what if I told you its curved blade wasn't originally Japanese?
This is not true, but let's see what else they have to say.
Early Japanese swords were straight blades inherited from early Chinese jian and dao designs.
This is correct. The first swords in Japan were straight swords that were brought over from the mainland. Basically, the Tangheng Dao, which was this kiriha tip, a low ridge line, and generally straight, usually forged of pattern welded steel. And in fact, one of the reasons we know what Chinese swords looked like back then was because of a sword that was saved in Japanese Imperial Repository, one that had fittings very much like this one here. Really cool tip to this one. Very similar to the Kisaki Moraha's kuri type or Kogurasu style.
Curved blade inspiration came directly from the Chinese dao, and even Turkic horse saber designs.
Now, this is where everything goes off the hook. Basically, Chinese swords don't start becoming curved until about the 9th or 10th century when they're being influenced by the Turkic nomads on the steppe. Meanwhile, there was an indigenous people in Japan known as the Emishi, and they were already making curved swords from about the 4th or 5th century using originally techniques that were brought over from the mainland. But this is one of the things you would see. It's called a kenukigata, or a tweezer style mounting. Now, the Emishi people were subjugated by what we would consider to be Japanese people during the 10th and 11th century. And so their swordsmiths were dispersed throughout all of Japan, as well as their sword making techniques. And one of the things that you would see is what's called aetsugi, or this grain pattern, which originally came from the mainland but was adapted to Japanese style iron sands. So essentially, Japanese sword making is a reflection of the materials they had available, as well as the convergence of Chinese style straight swords with Emishi technology and geometry.